That boy could dance. That boy good. He got a little move on him. Haha, yeah. Nah. What's going on, people? It's your boy Kirky Jerkson. What up? You know what I'm saying? Seeing how everybody's doing today on this beautiful. It was a pretty good day. I enjoyed myself, and I just think it was great. It was a great day. Um, Hard work today. I did a lot of things, and glad the day is over. Now, looking forward to a beautiful Sunday. Sunday's a day that you kind of relax, but I got to run around, and I see a lot of people and having problems with debt. And normally I don't make videos about this, but I guess you could say after hmm, I think I won 39 cases. No, 41 cases now. It's been 41 because I just won one. I won 41 cases in total. Big cases, small cases. I'm bad with money. I made a lot of poor decisions, but I'm just very knowledgeable about a few things. And I go to court. You know what I'm saying? Don't ignore those debt collectors. Talk to them. You just got to know what to say and what not to say. And think about it. Even if you talk to them, everything you say is not going to be written in stone like that. Because at the end of the day, for a debt collector to try to like come after you and stuff like that, you got to make sure that they have the necessary proper information. A lot of times they don't. You can ask them for a purchase agreement. The reason why a purchase agreement is very important is because sometimes in that purchase agreement it will say that they bought the debt from whatever creditor agency mainly a lot of times it'd be credit card agencies, right? You defaulted on it, you stop paying them for whatever reason. It could be financial situations, but even if that's the case, they still have to verify all the information. You have to verify that they are the owners of the debt. Sometimes in the purchase agreement that you request for the debt collector, if it's been passed from hand to hand, it says from the original creditor and the terms and agreements it say that you're not allowed to pass it to multiple people. The only person you can pass it back to me, meaning that if the debt collector can't settle the debt, they have the opportunity to try to sell it back to the creditor. But by any means, they're not allowed to hand it off to another creditor. And a lot of times they do that. They hand it to another creditor. So that's a violation. That's grounds for dismissal right there. There's a few things ground for dismissal. Incorrect balance. Like, let's say if you know that you owe the creditor $600-700, right? But the debt collector that allegedly bought the debt shows $2,000, and you're like, I don't know, I know this company, I don't owe them $2,000, but the debt collector has to prove that they own the debt, and that's where everything falls apart. A lot of times they can't. Most of my cases they can't, and then sometimes it does show that they purchased it, but when I look at the purchase agreement, they violated the purchase agreement. Like certain things in the purchase agreement they wasn't supposed to do, and they did, and that was a grounds for dismissal. It's so many ways to get your thing dismissed, and if you look at the history of if you look at the history as it pertains to America, these debt collection agencies sends out hundreds and thousands of lawsuits all over the United States. They do that, and they also get like maybe a 92 to 93 conviction. I sound like criminal. It's not conviction. It's 90. They win 92, 93% of the time. Now you gotta ask yourself, why are they always winning? If you said that it's easy to beat them, why you say they're always winning? Because you don't show up. People do not show up for court, and that's one of the issues right there. You gotta show up because showing up is half the battle. Either you could do an answer for the debt, or you have to go in person. Sometimes like and if you live in the state of New Jersey, you could just type online, I wanna answer this debt, and then that's when you can start putting, your answer to the debt in there. Because a lot of times these debt collection agencies get summary judgments because they expect you not to show up, and they're gonna have their attorney there, and then they're gonna call, and when you go to court, you're gonna sit down, and they're gonna yell out, so your name versus whatever debt collection agency attorney or whatever. No, debt collection agency. So the attorney's gonna stand up, and if you're not there, guess what? The judge is gonna say, okay, default, 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 default. Because the state of New Jersey, I can't speak for other states, it requires for you to see a media. You have to see the media company agents, media first to do mediation. It's very important because I want to see if you can solve the problem. Don't be scared of the attorneys, because a lot of times, and I'm not trying to disrespect attorneys because they went to school, they passed the bar exam, so I'm not going to try to play them out. But they're not the best attorneys that money could buy. They're not the best attorneys, and if you got a little sense, you could kind of like beat them. I beat them at least 41 times, and trust me, I'm dumb. I'm a very dumb person, but I got a little bit of common sense, and I know how to read, and I know how to research. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to use this tool to say, all right, create debt and then get out of it. No. Sometimes you don't have the money for it. So you should get a judgment and a wage garnishment. Is that going to serve you? Is it going to serve you better if you get a garnishment? Now they send it to the sheriffs and the marshals, and they come and start. They'll send a letter to your employer, and the next thing you know, you got a garnishment. 10%, depending on what state you're in. State of New York, New Jersey is like 10% of your income. Now, how can you overcome those situations? You got to how can you overcome those situations? What you need to do is answer anything you get in the mail. Sometimes they send it by regular mail. It won't even come certified. Answer it. Because in some states, they don't even have to serve you. They can lie and say they attempt to serve you. They couldn't serve you. So they have to put an ad in the newspaper or put an ad on social media saying that if you know who this person is, please let us know so we can contact them. And that'll be their grounds for going to court afterwards. Because now, since you don't respond to that, now what happens? The court sent out another letter to whatever last known address you have and try to see if they can locate you. And if they could, then everything's good. But if they can't, then that's what it is. But a lot of these debt collection agencies violate all kinds of laws. You got to go to the Credit Protection Bureau site and look at it. There's a lot of shit they violate. So it's good for you to take a look at it, see for yourself. Because you're like, yo, this is crazy. They violate all this. So everybody out here worrying about settle. Because the funny thing is, when I go to court, I look around and I see everybody just looking to settle. Everybody settle. But I remember one guy would say, yo, you Kurt the Jerk, right? I was like, oh shit. I was like, how the hell you know me? I don't talk about that stuff. But he knows me from just YouTube in general, like just Awareness Academy group that we got. And he knows me from my Kurt the Jerk channel on YouTube as well. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, somebody actually know me. I'm like, me? A little old me, somebody actually know me? Oh, I'm flabbergasted. But we started talking, and then he was like, yeah, I'm trying to settle this because I don't got all the money that they're asking for and stuff like that. I said, did you verify first? I said, before I even start talking like that, I let him know that, listen, I'm not an attorney. This is for entertainment purpose. He started laughing. I was like, nah, I'm just joking. That's why I usually stay on YouTube. I said, but this is just a friendly conversation we having right now, and this is just a friendly gesture, and this is just a matter of my opinion. My opinion is not facts. It's just my opinion. You take it the way you want it. And he said, so what do you think I could do about this debt? So I looked at his paperwork, and I'm like, oh, this is an easy dismiss. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. Don't you know his case was like 2 cases before mine. And he went to see the mediator. The mediator looked like they was angry because they didn't come to no agreement. And then when he sat in front of the judge, he chewed out the lawyer just off the little information I gave him. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be an attorney to win, man. And I think that's the problem. When you get a letter from an attorney, you're automatically getting scared. You're like, oh my God, an attorney sent me a letter. Oh shit, what am I supposed to do? This is scary right there. But it don't have to be scary. You just got to know your rights. And you got to know that they're not violating your rights, because you have rights even as a debtor. You have rights. And that's why I said it's very important to assert your rights. You don't just be quick to pay anything. Not saying that even if you owe it, they have to prove that they own it. These debt collection agencies, let me tell you what they do. They'll get 100,000 listed names, social security numbers, and accounts from various different accounts, and they buy it pennies on the dollar. So let's say if your debt is $2,000, right? They bought that debt for like $100, $150, maybe $200. Maybe they bought it for $200. Maybe they bought it for 10% or something, like 20% or whatever, 10%. My math is bad, but maybe they bought it for that reason. And if they did, cool. But a lot of times, even the original creditor don't like to give enough information for them to pursue you in court. Sometimes original creditor, that's why I say you got to ask for a discovery. You want the original balance of the statement, because by them buying a debt, allegedly, they assume all responsibility of that debt. So if that's the case, they need to show you proof, detailed proof. They need to show you the purchase agreement. The purchase agreement is usually like 30 to 40 pages long. It's very important. You can sit through and examine. It's not so much legal terms where you can't understand it. So you sit through that purchase agreement. I'm pretty sure you might find some inconsistencies in it. And that's very important, because you could use that for your defense. Because that's what you want to do. You want to request for discovery. And then pretty much, I'm skipping a few steps. The first step is when you get a notice, like maybe you get served or something like that, right? When they serve you. The next step from there is to address it. You want to answer whatever court document you have so you can have your day in court to fight it. Now you request for information, and then you send a copy to the debt collection agency, letting them know that you're requesting for these particular documents, and you also keep your return receipt. So they're going to receive it, and now you got a court date coming up, like a trial date or pre-trial, or sometimes it's a trial date. You could get your information. If they provide it, then that's fine. You sit there and research it and see how you can pick it apart. But a lot of times they're not going to give you the information. They'll probably give you one page. They're not going to give you all the details because they don't want to. Because they're hoping that you still don't show up for court. They're hoping something happened to you and you won't be able to show up to court. So that's what it is. Some people that even know how to fight debt, sometimes they end up catching a default judgment because they wasn't able to show up to court. So it's very important to show up to court. I think it's very important, so you could be able to handle your situation. But moving forward, you got a lot of these debt collection agencies as being sued by Credit Protection Bureau. So you need to go there, see if you can find some case log. You don't need to really go too crazy with case log. The reason why you don't have to do all that is because many of my cases, like many times, I sat in front of a judge. I didn't even get a chance to put my defense up because the judge automatically sees the indiscrepancy because he reads my answer to the debt collection agency, and my answer is so compelling and it's so strong that the case is almost closed before we even start talking. So the judge is like, dismiss. A lot of times they'll do dismiss with prejudice, or sometimes they do dismiss without prejudice. For anybody that don't know, dismiss without prejudice means that they could bring that charge back to you again. But likelihood they not, because they don't want the headache. They don't want to take you to court for the second time. They try to make this easy because usually they just sue people all over the place and everybody just default on it because they don't show up to court. So that's what they're banking on most of the time. So that's why you don't have to really worry about being resued. Like I have a few dismissed without prejudice, and they never brought me back to court, and it's been years now. So they had opportunities, and that debt wasn't passed to another one. Because once you go to court, once you win, now if that debt collection agency end up transferring that debt to another agency, you can sue them. That's a lawsuit right there. They violated the Fair Debt Collection Act, and guess what? Now you get $1,000. So you can flip this whole shit around. You can actually make money with debt collectors. When they take you and they can't verify the information, and then you pick them apart by looking at the paperwork they give you, guess what? Now you got a lawsuit. Now you do a counterclaim for $1,000. That's what the law allows you with the Fair Debt Collection Act. Look it up on CFPB, Credit Protection Bureau. Look it up and you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's so compelling. That's why I say it's just very important for you to do your research. Don't quick to pay any debt collector. And if you get an email or if you get something correspondence in the mail from a debt collector and it's not a lawsuit, it's just a regular correspondence, don't ignore it. Don't ignore any correspondence from them. Send them a letter back, whether by mail or email, stating that you require to follow. You want the original terms and agreements of the original creditor. You want a bank statement or a credit card statement, whatever it is, whatever type of debt it is. You want some type of statement showing the last zero balance leading up to the debt that they allegedly say you owe. And then you want the purchase agreement. The reason why you want the purchase agreement because you want to see what was the terms of them purchasing the debt. Because sometimes it would say that you could try to collect money from this person, but you can't sue them. Or if it passes a few different hands from one debt agency to another debt agency, the previous debt agency that sold it could have said, "Oh, we don't verify that we can't verify the accuracy of this debt, of this balance, or whatever the case is." And if that's listed in the purchase agreement because they try to cover their own ass, they don't want to get sued, then you can have grounds for dismissal because now you can say that why would I be responsible for a debt that another agency can't even verify that is accurate? I'm not paying this shit. Dismiss this, please. So if you're in the state of New Jersey, you automatically go to a mediator because 80% of the cases don't even make it to the judge. Or most of my cases do because obviously the attorneys can't just say, "Oh, we'll dismiss it." They can't work that arrangement. They have to fight you somehow. They always lose though, and they always look stupid. They always look sad, and I feel bad for some of them. I'm like, they got to make a living too, so I understand why they're doing what they do, but you're not gonna win. And you know it's funny. Some of them be seen looking confident. I'm like, oh, this guy look confident. Oh, I'm about to break his heart. You know what I'm saying? And yo, I'm not the brightest person. I just did a little reading. That's it, a little digging. I looked at a few YouTube videos. I went to college on YouTube, but I also read law as it pertains to. I basically went to the Credit Protection Bureau site and look at all the details and the laws. Once you understand all the laws and the parameters, then you can pick apart any debt collection agency that comes after you. Now, let's say in a worst case scenario that the debt collector has all the necessary information. I'm talking about all the details, and they provide it to you like, here, boom, boom, boom. You still can pick it apart because I've been in a position where they had everything. They should have won, but I still won. That lets you know that a lot of times the paperwork is always inaccurate. There's always some issues with the paperwork. So you just letting you know. But I'm gonna let everybody go. I just want to make this quick video real quick. And if you have any questions, please leave comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them for you the best of my ability. Remember, this is for entertainment purpose. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a guy that's trying to look out for the fellow man or sister, fellow brother or sister, and holla at me. Peace.